Vikings go toe-to-toe with the NFC champs. They beat the Niners. Final score 23-17. Breaking it all down next on the Locked On Vikings postcast.
You are Locked On Vikings postcast, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's going on? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Vikings postcast right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. Your team every day. Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. We got Luke Braun, host of Locked On Vikings. Gophers legend Ron Johnson, host of the Ron Johnson Show. And fellas, plenty to get into. But first, quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by Game Time. Create an account, download the Game Time app, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Ron, I said it last week. You laughed at me. I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself. I'm looking at the schedule. I can't find a loss, man. What do you think? What are your biggest takeaways in 8 topics after this one?
Oh, you're right. You know what? Like, you couldn't find one.
17-0. It's happening.
I'll give it to you. With the Texans coming to town, we still have to understand C.J. Stroud is really, really good. But here's the thing: Brian Flores' defense is legit. Like, I was more so worried about the offense of the 49ers, but now, and I said on the pregame show, we've been keeping track, by the way, on the Vikings pregame show. So I think today a lot of mine hit, which was the only one that I was off on was the Vikings had 2 turnovers. I think the Aaron Jones, I wasn't expecting an Aaron Jones fumble. I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card. I did say they'd have 1 turnover. I assumed it would be a Sam Darnold interception just because of the way the 49ers play a lot of Tampa too. And that can mess with you when you want to hit those seams and those tight ends across the middle. I did say JJ would have a big game. I did say Jalen Nair would have a touchdown. But Brian Flores' defense, I said there's no more square peg, round hole. Last year, it was a lot of square peg, round hole defensive sets where you think about Daniil Hunter. Look at Andrew Van Ginkel. I mean, he is an absolute nightmare throwing just like flat routes. You can't even throw a smoke route behind the line of scrimmage with him because he's so smart. He understands, like, hey, if the tackle's doing this, it's probably a smoke. If the guard's doing this, it's probably a smoke. And he almost had 3 interceptions in 2 weeks off the same type of play. And so that wouldn't have happened. Nothing against Daniil Hunter. He was so strong. I don't think he could get his arms above his head like that. Like it's just a different type of defense. And like the one that I really liked, and it ended up hurting him, but when they motioned and shifted over, you saw the defense end, I think it was Patrick Jones, was down in either a 4-point stance or a 3-point. When they kicked down, he stood up and said, nope, this is time to stand up now because now the tight end is now it's not a tackle anymore, it's a tight end. And again, I don't think Daniil Hunter does that. I think Daniil Hunter says, you know what, I'm going to stand this wide 9. I'm going to put my hands down and I'm about to get after you. Patrick Jones realized, like, but I think, because they ended up running the tight end freaking screen up the middle to Kittle.
Right.
But Patrick Jones was on it. He engaged right away. When he felt getting yanked away, and Coach always said, if you feel getting yanked, you go with the yank. And he kind of just got thrown to the ground, which I hate that rule. I feel like if you block that long, you shouldn't be able to catch a pass. But hey, that's just me. But yeah, no, Brian Flores' defense is real.
Just to echo on that, and then Luke will get your biggest takeaways. Just to echo on that, I am so surprised how quickly this defense has gelled together. Not only the back end, Stephen Gilmore coming in a week or 2 before training camp, but all those front 7 guys. Van Ginkel, Ron, you gave a shout out to. He's new. Cashman's new. He was flying around making plays. But then the pass rushers, guys like Jihad Ward, making plays already. There's just so many new faces. I'm just so surprised. What a litmus test, by the way, in week 2 to face arguably maybe the best offensive mind in the entire league in Chaney. I know they were missing Christian McCaffrey. I know you're playing at home. I know that place was loud, but man, these guys are just flying all over the field and they just look in sync. 11 guys playing as one. Luke, your biggest takeaways, kind of your 8 topics from
what happens to Kyle Shanahan when he goes up against a Flores defense? That stat that Kevin Harlan said at the end of that game, Brock Purdy has lost twice to the NFC in the regular season, and they've both been the Vikings.
Yeah, what? And
that's just the last 2 years. But go back to Miami when the 49ers would go play against Miami, and it was Brian Flores' time. For whatever reason, that defense, he just cannot figure it out. But like, I don't want to take too much away from the 49ers. This was not like an off day for them.
No.
You had 100 yards rushing to Jordan Mason. You had 110 yards to Deebo Samuel, 76 yards to George Kittle. They moved the ball. They were still very much the 49ers. I at halftime, I started thinking this game feels like a playoff matchup. Feels like two teams whose stars are going to make more plays. Big, giant 97-yard touchdown to Justin Jefferson, big plays from Andrew Van Ginkel, big plays on defense at all levels. And it just kind of felt like who is going to make the big one? Who is going to finish this thing out and make one more play than the other guys? That turned out to be the Vikings. And if you looked at these two rosters stacked up against each other, and you'd go, okay, who's making all the plays? You wouldn't guess the right names if you had 100 tries.
No
that
chance.
I feel it's just that is the embodiment of grit, of going into a game. Nobody believes in us. So Blake Cashman is going to get 2 sacks. Patrick Jones is going to get 2 sacks. I couldn't be more excited. That proved everything the Vikings said that they were going to prove, but was really hard to believe that they were going to prove. Well, here we are, 2-0.
And I think,
I'll say this.
Yeah,
though,
go
Luke,
ahead, Ron. Yeah, go ahead.
To Luke's point, 319 yards, but 2 for 10 on third down, and I think
That's
that
so
was
huge.
For Brian Flores.
Yeah.
So huge.
That
And it was
Versus
always
having
like
a third
someone's
down.
big play.
Yeah.
Like, big Metellus tackle, Jonathan Grenard tipping it up. That turns into the Jihad Ward. It's an interception in my heart. Like, so it was the big players making big plays and everybody else doing their job and cleaning up when they had to.
Yeah, Vikings beat the Niners at home for the 8th consecutive time. Think that goes back all the way to what? Early 90s, I believe.
92.
92, man. Unbelievable stat right there. I think my big thing going into the week was just like win or lose. And Luke, you touched on this, like win or lose. Yeah, there's no moral victories in the NFL, but win or lose, this was the real litmus test. Like last week, you stomped the Giants, but I think we all knew after a couple of days, it was like this feeling of when we look back at the end of the year, Giants are probably going to be in that bottom tier of teams. This week, though, everybody knows San Fran is not only in that top tier, but they're probably the team to beat in the NFC again. So this was just the litmus test I think we've all been waiting for. A lot of question marks about this team all summer long. I got to say, all in all, again, they just went toe-to-toe. They went blow for blow with one of the best teams in the league. I mean, they held their own. They looked the part of what just feels like, both you guys already said this, but it feels like this is a very competitive and complete team that, if healthy, should be competing every single week in this league this season, no matter the matchup, no matter who they're going up against head-to-head. Ron, you mentioned it, the defense, man. They're flying around. They're just gelling together. That group, that unit looks like a tough matchup, a nightmare for any opposing offense. And then offensively, too, like, at least, first of all, we saw resemblance of the run game again. First time I think KOC's had a real run game, even if it is a two-headed monster, so to speak. I think there's going to be some highs and lows with Darnold, week to week, but just make the right read. He's going to give you a few explosive plays with that arm strength. You saw the deep on to JJ. That 7 minutes and 30 seconds left third down ball to Jalen Naylor in triple coverage on third down. That was like a wow throw as well. And then
that was the dagger of the game.
That was the dagger right there.
That was the game-winning play. Yeah.
Maybe the best attribute we really haven't seen. We didn't see it a lot in week one. Sam Darnold gives you that sneaky mobility back there, right? Like Kirk Cousins never gave you any of that, and you just knew that going in. But it allows you to steal a few big chunk gains every week, a few first downs every week. So, yeah, they just checked a lot of boxes this week. And I think, Ron, big picture now, 2 games of sample size now. When Justin Jefferson's healthy, which we'll talk about the injuries, when Hawkinson's back, when Addison's back, what is the ceiling kind of feel like of this team now after 2 games?
Man, this offense, when you get Hawkinson back, I mean, like I said, I think you mentioned it. When you look at those last few plays of the game, no Hawkinson, no Justin Jefferson, no Addison, Brandon Powell coming up with plays, Ty Chandler having a big game. It's like whoever is out there, Sam Darnold's like, look, I don't know none of y'all, so I'm gonna throw it to somebody. Like I have no favorites. There's no, like honestly, like Kirk Cousins, we know Justin Jefferson became his favorite. Before that, it was what's the guy's name? Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen was his favorite. That's why Stephon Diggs wanted out of here. And then Justin Jefferson became his favorite. That's why Adam Thielen wanted out of here. And so Sam Darnold comes in like, I don't know none of y'all. Like, I do know JJ, and I know Coach told me I got to throw it to him if I want to be his quarterback. But when JJ's not in there, I'm throwing it to whoever's out there. And I think, you get Hawkinson, Addison, and Justin Jefferson back on the field with this offense. The ceiling is like, greatest show on turf. Like it could get, I mean, Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler, like that 1-2 punch, it's like either of them can give you 80 to 90 yards. you just don't know. And imagine if Aaron Jones doesn't fumble the ball, what the game would have looked like. Like, it wouldn't even have been close, because I think that would have been the dagger play. They probably score that next play, unless he maybe falls into the end zone on that, but they probably score the next play. Like, that would have been the dagger, and I think the 49ers would have gave up, and maybe we still would have had Justin Jefferson. I don't know.
Yeah, lots more to get into, including some big name injuries. You just touched on it there, Ron. Justin Jefferson, Dallas Turner, maybe a couple others. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members to date. And for me and my money, it's just by far the easiest. It's the most exciting way to get in on all the action while you watch your favorite sports and you watch your favorite players. So simple. All you got to do, you pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, and you watch the winnings roll in. Football obviously is back, so whether it's receptions, sacks, interceptions, anytime touchdowns, you name it, they got it. Take your pick on more or less, add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Plus, they now offer Apple Pay, quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL, all lowercase, LOCKEDONNFL. Get $50 instantly when you wager just $5 on any pick. We're also brought to you by DoorDash today. DoorDash, we've all been there, guys. Dinner's long gone. The fridge is empty, but you still got the itch for maybe one more meal. That's the perfect time to open up the DoorDash app with all your favorite restaurants and grocery stores at your fingertips. You name it, they got it. It's delivered right to your doorstep. No questions asked. Easy to use and convenient as it gets. What I love most, without a doubt, how in-depth and detailed you can make your orders. DoorDash offers you that peace of mind and ability to customize your order every time to your liking to get exactly what you're craving. For a limited time, get 50% off your first DoorDash order, up to a $10 value when you use code LOCKEDFALL24 at checkout. That's 50% off, up to $10. One more time, use code LOCKEDFALL24 for 50% off your first order, up to a $10 value with DoorDash. DoorDash, your door to game day greatness. Terms and conditions apply. Okay, injuries. Let's just touch on these real quick. Obviously, no Addison today. Hopefully, he's back next week. But Justin Jefferson looked like maybe like a dead leg, a Charlie horse kind of thing. Dallas Turner, no idea. Maybe you guys have been on Twitter before I have. Any updates on either of those two, and maybe the ripple effect if either of those guys can't go next week, Luke?
Yeah, I'm looking for the Dallas Turner one right now. I don't have any information on that. The Jefferson one, they called it a quad injury, questionable to return. Obviously, he didn't make it back for the end of the game there. A lot of people like on Twitter speculating, looking that like, hey, that looked like a Charlie horse, but that's kind of all the evidence we have, which is not that it's strong. So we'll have to wait and see there. But without Jefferson, having that big play to Jalen Nailor, right, and big conversion to Brandon Powell earlier in that drive. Trent Sherfield with a big play earlier in the game. Like these depth receivers sort of stepping up. And when we talked about it in the preseason too, we're like, wow, there's actually kind of like some depth here. The competition's actually a little stronger than we thought. This is that paying off in a huge spot when you are down to it. No Jefferson, no Addison, no Hawkinson. This is a 3-headed monster of an offense, and none of the 3 are on the field. And the Vikings were still able to move the ball for a 6-minute drive that functionally put the game into impossible onside kick territory. It's so huge to get that. That might be the biggest contribution we get from Brandon Powell all season, and it turned into a win against the 49ers.
Yeah, Ron, any update on the injuries or just the ripple effect? Again, Luke touched on it. Like we talked about that training camp battle. Are they going to keep 5 wide receivers? Are they going to keep 6? This is like really you just got to feel so good if you're Kevin O'Connell, knowing JJ went down and all these other guys stepped up, like Luke said. But just the injuries, maybe the ripple effect. If you had to go next week, let's just say worst case here, no JJ, no Addison, obviously no Hawkinson. Boy, how do you game plan around that?
Run the damn ball. Sandra Bullock said it best. But I mean, honestly, you probably do. Like you look at what you can get, out of your running backs, that 2-headed monster. If you were to have to run the ball 40 times, I think the Vikings would be okay with that. You do have Jalen Nailor. Let's not forget that Jalen Nailor is still a weapon. Brandon Powell, I think, can be a weapon in this offense if he can give you 4 to 5 catches and make somebody miss. You still have Tristan Jackson from the preseason. And again, if JJ somehow, because it looks like they said quad, but I think it was the hip. When you look at the hip, and Brandon Molesky from K-Fan, he said it too. It looked like on the broadcast that because from the stadium we couldn't see. And so it looked like Bosa's, like when he got turned and thrown, he hit in the Justin Jefferson kind of like hip area, like upper thigh. And it sounds like just a deep thigh bruise. And those hurt like heck. It hurts to put weight on it. But like literally it's going to be one of those, sleep tonight, feel like crap when you wake up in the morning, get a deep massage, get in the hot tub, cold tub, hot tub, cold tub.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to massage it out. It's going to hurt to massage it out. Once you start to get, it's going to be like black and blue. And then once you get that blood to flow and move, I'd say Sunday he'll be probably fine. He might even put like a little pad on that area just because it might be tender from all the, getting the soreness out and the swelling. But I think he'll be fine. The fact that it wasn't a knee and it wasn't an ankle,
right?
A bruised thigh, I mean, give me that all the day. Like it's going to hurt like heck. It hurts to bend it. It hurts to move. The Dallas Turner one, no idea. I saw him limping.
We got an update there from Ben Gessling, who's at the presser. Kevin O'Connell just talked about it on the podium. Said Dallas Turner has a knee issue, but doesn't think it's long term.
Okay, good. Absolutely. All right, I'm calling it now. JJ, no practice Wednesday, no practice Thursday, limited participant Friday, ends up suiting up next Sunday versus the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Luke, just touching on what Ron said about running the damn ball, do we finally have a run game? Can we officially say the Vikings have a run game? Because, again, talked about it a lot building up to the season. KOC's just never had like a consistent backfield to build his offense around. I know Jones got dinged up today, had the huge fumble, but I'm looking at the stats. If you were to tell me the Vikings were to outrush the Niners 146 to 102, I would have been pleasantly surprised. So Ty Chandler, 10 carries, 82 yards. That's 8.2 per carry. Last week it was Aaron Jones. He averaged over 7 yards per carry. This just feels like the catalyst, though, to helping Sam Darnold out and making this offense go. Does it not?
Did they really outrush the 49ers? It doesn't feel like that at all.
Yeah. 146.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like it felt like that was the only thing the Niners could do was get
Sam
9 yards on a
Darnold's
zone rush every single time. Jordan Mason was absolutely cooking, but the Vikings, again, it's like
as
for every
Vikings
punch
fan,
they had, we had two.
Yeah.
It was like crazy. That's why I'm saying like it felt like a playoff game. This felt like a divisional round playoff game where both teams really, slugged it out, but only one can win.
The two big runs were by Sam Darnold. The run at the end, the slide and for the field goal. One, the slide early enough to realize I got to get down. We got to kick a field goal. But then two, he escaped, went to the left, got out of bounds on another long run. Those two helped for sure. That 32 yards definitely helps their run game out.
I will
counts.
say too, as it all counts. I will say as Vikings fans, we only remember right now, just fresh off this game, all the big gashes. But we go back and watch this game back. There is a lot of 0-yard gains, 1-yard gain, 2-yard gains. That run defense showed up big time today.
Yeah, I think they made an adjustment. Because at the beginning of the game, so the way they did this against the Giants was the same way they came out against the 49ers. They basically were like responding to zone action. You feel a lateral step, you move lateral with it, you try to slash into that gap, basically beat them, play side. They're trying to reach you, don't let them reach you. And what was happening was the 49ers, I think, knew this, and Jordan Mason did a great job of like finding the cutback lanes that's going to create when everybody's pursuing play side that hard. I think they changed it a little bit to have backside players be a little bit more cognizant of the cutback lanes, let the middle of the field be a little bit more open, and sort of trust in your guys in the middle and Harrison Phillips and company and the linebackers to fill those gaps fast enough. And then they did that, and things sort of got a little bit more compressed, but it still worked some. But I think that sort of stemmed the bleeding just enough where that they couldn't just gash you down the field like that 15-play drive in the beginning of the game that ended up going for 0 points. What a major stop that turned out to be. But that kind of drive wasn't going to happen to you again. At least they were going to have to throw it at some point.
What was that? A 15 play? You could feel it happening almost just after the Dallas Turner kind of botched down punt at the 1 yard line. You could just feel that drive just extending. Couple 4th down conversions, at least one 4th down conversion. Obviously, they got stopped on the second 4th down conversion down the goal line. But like a 15 play, I want to say 9-minute and 18-second drive, something ridiculous like that. Again, to your point, Luke, ends up in 0 points. Coach's corner time. anything as far as the coaches go. So, KOC, Flores, Wes Phillips, Matt Daniels, whoever, a new wrinkle maybe that caught your eye, a specific play design. I thought the challenge was a good challenge. Was it Ayuk? Was it Debo? Maybe Debo.
I think it was that run game adjustment for me.
Yeah.
That's, responding to it and finding a way to kind of chill out a little bit. That's also some stuff that you can do when you're made of like all veterans. It's a fairly old defense, a lot of experience there. And so you can say, you don't have to install that, right? You can just say, hey, lag a little bit more. But offensively, it felt a little basic. And I don't mean that as a bad thing necessarily. I think they kind of just ran their staples, executed well, and moved the ball. That's ideal, right? You don't want to have to do a bunch of crazy wrinkles and stuff. How about just run the classics?
Yeah, force them to stop you, and then I'll make an adjustment. But until then, I'm just gonna run my bread and butter. Absolutely, yeah. Ron, coach's
Justin
corner
Jefferson on a post.
Yeah, no kidding. Ron, coach's corner. What do you see that kind of stuck out for good or bad as far as the coaching goes today?
Well, I like the punt block. Like if you watch it, they ran a twist, and CJ Ham was the first guy on the twist. And normally what happens is the first guy on the twist, the first guy blocking assumes, don't worry about the first guy. I got to get the second guy because he's the guy. And CJ Ham kind of acted like he was going to the next guy and then just kept going. And he was like, he got shot out of a cannon, was wide open. Also, the other one was the Blake Cashman sack. When you watch it back, Luke, on All 22 this week, you're going to be like, oh my goodness. Like you're going to be like the dude from
which one, Ron? There's two.
The twist one, the one where you'll see it. He twists. So when he's going,
Dallas Turner was crashing.
Dallas Turner was coming behind him. He went first. So what he did was he went first, and then Trent Williams passed him off, thinking I got to get the second guy. Mm-hmm. Cashman kind of hits his guy and then just keeps going. Like he doesn't try to hold up to like help the twist guy. He realizes like, look, there's nobody in front of me anymore. I'm going. And when you watch it, you're going to be like, man, this was – because I think it was designed. I don't think that's Cashman just called his own number. I think that's the way they drew it up to say, hey, you come, Dallas Turner, you really show like you're the twister, and then Cashman, you just keep coming because I guarantee they're going to leave you because that's like Trent – like literally Trent Williams kind of was like, yep, guard's going to take him and turn, and the guard got pushed by Cashman, and then he just kept going, and it was beautiful.
It's such a great, fun feeling.
By the way, covering this. Yeah, go ahead. Scotty Ma.
There you go. Okay, nice.
You had Devontae. You had Devondre Campbell out there. Yeah, Blake
Campbell.
Cashman, another gopher. Another gopher for you. Last week was Carter Coughlin and Tyler Nubin. And I mean, every week we're gonna have gophers. That's the goal.
Yeah, they just breed NFL talent. What can you say?
PJ Flex program.
I was just going to say it's just going to be such a fun week diving into the tape of this one. Obviously, not just because they won, but so many fun plays to kind of sift throughout the week. One more quick segment. We'll do a quick sneak peek at week 3 versus the Texans. Stephon Diggs coming back into town. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode also brought to us by Game Time. Game Time, because you should never have to worry when buying tickets to any big event. That's why Game Time, it's the fastest and the easiest way to buy tickets to any local event. Talking concerts, comedy shows, sporting events, even Broadway theater, and with killer last-minute deals and their best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Personally, for me, I just love that view from the seat feature so I can get a real look at where my seats are going to be so I know exactly what to expect before you spend all that money. And with their all-in prices, Game Time shows you exactly how much you're spending with no hidden fees. Time to take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. See for yourself just how easy it is. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Again, just create any new account. Redeem your code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Go download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Game Time, terms apply. All right, how about a quick sneak peek? Well, Ron's got his who we got there? Marion Bar 24? What is that, old school? Is that the
just the 24th season?
Okay,
2024.
All right,
season.
all right. I
These
love
are
it. All right.
2024
Marion
season.
Barber in a
Just,
big spot.
Yeah,
Marion Barber. They could have been. They should have put Barber on the back all the
probably
times this
should have
season.
been. Yeah. Ron's
These are the
blotting
terrible
out the
times.
sweat from that game, man.
We got Iowa. We got Iowa coming out this week.
Big Iowa for
baby.
the pig next week. Ron, quick sneak peek at this Texans game next week. Week 3, second of 2 games in a row at home at the bank. Texans obviously kind of a lot of people's like hot, sexy team to root for. They kind of shocked the league last year, kind of went from zero to hero, so to speak. But on paper, like what's the storyline or like the matchup that you think of first? I imagine Stephon Diggs coming back home has got to be up there in the mix.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Luke. I don't know if the Lord put this schedule together, but Jesus himself said, you know what, Kevin O'Connell, I'm going to help you out. Because they play the Texans, the Bears are in their division, and they get to go home tonight after beating the 49ers and watch their opponent live.
So great.
Like you talk about, I know Connor Stallions is probably texting KOC like, hey, if you need me, let me know. I can help you out. I can stop.
Get me out of here.
Steal for you.
Yeah.
Get me out of Mumford High School in Detroit. Like literally. So this is, honestly, Luke, I'm super excited. Like I can't wait to get home and watch this game because now it's going to give me my entire week of what I need to know about the Texans. I don't have to go to all 22 because I can sit here and watch it tonight. My kids love football. They actually love Stephon Diggs because Stephon Diggs has always been nice to my daughter. So she loves Stephon. And so being able to watch that tonight. But then CJ Stroud, he's one of the greatest talents that we've seen in a while as far as young quarterbacks, and we get him in our building. But we also get Anthony Richardson this year. I was hoping to get Jordan Love. I'm guessing maybe we get Malik Willis. We'll see. But to get Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, you got Brock Purdy. He got Slade. But
right.
It is really cool, though, to be able to watch. And you got Caleb Williams tonight. So you got the ability to watch 2 young guns go after it. But scouting-wise, like literally this game is going to be everything we need to know about the Texans. And so it's almost like, it's like free work for Kevin O'Connell. Like he can go home, have some dinner, and get free work. Like him and his wife
kick back after a win. He's got the man cave with the all 22 projectors set up and everything else too. So yeah, that's a good point actually. Yeah, all these Vikings fans listening at home, make sure you go watch the Texans tonight on Sunday Night Football. Luke, kind of same question. We got a little bit bigger sample size now of what this Vikes team, what they do well, what the identity might look like kind of on both sides of the ball. 2 games banked in the vault now. What matchups kind of intrigue you the most? Just kind of at first glance, top of your head.
2 weeks in, the Vikings ran the ball successfully on Dexter Lawrence and the Giants D-line, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau. They ran the ball. 49ers, you got Nick Bosa, but you got a lot of people on that 49ers defensive line. You still ran the ball. Now you got not only Danielle Hunter coming back for a revenge game angle, to add the Stephon Diggs revenge game angle, and a low-key Chris Boyd revenge game angle.
Yeah.
But you got Mario Edwards in the middle. You got Will Anderson on the other side. You got
Chris
Derek
Boyd
Barnett and Jerry Hughes
stupid.
in reserve. That's a crazy rotation on the edge.
Yeah.
So will they be able to run the ball to the outside? That's going to be a huge question. And if not, can they exploit the inner parts of that that Texans defense? Especially if we're going to have no Justin Jefferson or not 100% Justin Jefferson. Will they be able to just pound this thing up the middle and make an offense out of that? But based on the last 2 weeks, what have they shown to tell you that the answer to that question is anything but yes?
Before I get out of here, this is what I'll say, Luke. Before I get out of here, I got to get to the fan line.
Yep.
Chris Boyd will get a penalty on special teams doing something ridiculous. Like he is.
Oh yeah, set your watch by it. Set your watch.
He's going to be so amped up. He wants to make a play.
Do you think he'll be more amped up for this one or for if they would play the Cowboys?
Ooh.
Oh, Mike Zimmer. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh.
I don't even know. I don't think they do this year.
Ron, before you leave, just
Yep.
some sort of knee-jerk reaction to the NFL Week 2. You brought up Mike Zimmer now, and I'm just thinking Alvin Kamara just shreds a Mike Zimmer defense again. Saints have put up 100 points in 2 weeks now, back-to-back. Yes, it was versus the Panthers Week 1, but now they did it against the Cowboys. What's going on? Just a knee-jerk reaction to some scoreboard watching of Week 2.
Yeah, expect the unexpected. I did pick the Jets. I did pick the Washington Commanders. I actually picked the 49ers. I hate to say it, but I'm glad it was a surprise to lose that one.
Yeah.
And then, the way some of these teams look, like the Titans, they're clearly you can run on them. But yeah, you're right. The Saints are for real, and the Panthers are trash. Like they are very bad right now. So
yeah, they're a ways away. That's Ron Johnson. Check him out every Tuesday on the Ron Johnson Show. He's jumping over to the K-Fan vent line. I was just going to kind of echo, just talking about this Texans matchup, echo what you were talking about, the run game. I'm just excited. Just on paper, Flores versus D'Amico Ryan. D'Amico was second in coaching of the year voting, I should say, behind Stefanski. I believe. I'm almost positive about that. So he's already in like the, this kind of top 10 discussion. It's only year 2. So just like 2 great defensive minds, I think
it's the Bobby Slowick, Bobby Slowick offense, almost head coach Bobby Slowick, maybe.
Yeah. And 2, speaking of offenses too, like both teams went out and identified a weakness. They made it a strength by going out and signing just a legitimate running back too, right? Vikes obviously got Aaron Jones. They got this nice little 1-2 bang, bang going on. Texans, though, signed Joe Mixon. He went off last week. So just like, again, having a threat on the ground, balance things out. I know everybody talks about running backs don't matter. They still matter, just in a different way. You still have to have a running game. You can't be one-dimensional. So Flores
they're
versus
as
D'Amico.
Stacked. Yeah. They're as stacked as the 49ers.
I agree.
That's the thing, is that you just got studs all over the place, and how do you deal with that? And that's why I think most of us went into this 49ers game, to wrap it up here. That's why most of us went into this game going, well, I just hope they show life. They don't need to win. We don't expect that. I just hope they show something. But so many guys stepped up. The Brandon Powell did as much for the Vikings as Jawan Jennings did. Jalen Naylor did as much for the Vikings as George Kittle did for the 49ers. Right. Like, getting that much out of these unheralded players, it's a testament to coaching. It's a testament to culture. It's a testament to just rising to meet that challenge. And they didn't even play their best ball. You had an interception on Sam Darnold. Tough window Fred Warner's insane. Got to give him his flowers on that. But of course, the fumble. You had that crazy pitchback disaster. Like, you still had some of this bozo crap that theoretically is easy to fix and get out of your game. And this game if it were just let's go down for down and take out all the weird stuff and say who won on the normal stuff, it was the Vikings by 1,000,000. And the only reason this game was close is because of the dumb crap. You get the dumb crap out, you can go take on anybody. And even if you don't, apparently you can take on anybody.
Beautifully said. Let's end on that. Vikings take care of business. They beat the Niners 23-17. Texans at home next week. Kickoff for that one, another 12 p.m. noon start time. Huge shout out to all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen. Go check out all of Luke's work every day on Locked On Vikings. Ron Johnson every Tuesday on the Ron Johnson Show. Normally, Sam Ekstrom's in here with us. He always hosts all of us on the Minnesota Football Party every Monday and Thursday. Should be a great episode tomorrow. You won't want to miss that. Go like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm Luke Inman on X, at Luke_Spinman. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place, right here after Vikes Texans. But until then, signing out.